Hello again. I know you missed me. Gosh, I can only imagine how sick of my voice you are, but it's only week 3, you guys. Week 2? Week 2. So we got a ways to go. Anyways, okay, so question number 3. So now what's happening on the next couple problems is you guys are going to have to describe data, okay? And, the acronym that I use is SOCS, right? And this one, though, does not ask you for all SOCS. You'll see here that it's missing outliers. So if on the quiz it says specifically describe, shape, center, and spread, those are the only 3 things that I'm going to give you credit for doing. If you also want to discuss outliers, you can do that. I won't count it against you, but you don't have to do it. Now, in question number 4, you will have to do all 4. So in this one, it particularly says shape, center, and spread. So I'm going to address shape, okay, first. So shape. We talked again. A lot of you are not attending the Zooms. There's going to be some changes to that since not a single person has joined. So look for changes coming up after this assessment. If you are not doing well in this class, the Zooms daily will become mandatory. So maybe that'll encourage you to study. So this right here would be considered symmetric because, you fold it in half, it's got symmetry. Okay. You also could have a situation where it looks like that. That would be skewed, SKEWED, and this one would be skewed right. It's called skewed right because the long tail goes to the right. Okay. And then you could have the opposite where it would be skewed left. Okay. Again, because the tail is going to the left. And so how do I know what this looks like? Well, what you're supposed to do is envision drawing a smooth curve over the top of whatever graph you're given. You're given a histogram. Maybe tomorrow you're given a dot plot or a stem plot or something like that. But if you draw a smooth curve over this data, there should be no doubt that a lot of the data is focused here on the left with a tail extending out to the right to grab this data. Okay, and so you would definitely answer the question saying that it is skewed right. Now, saying skewed right will get you points, but not all of the points. Okay, so you have to contextualize. So for shape, you're going to get a point for shape. And then you are also going to get another point for context. And so if you only say one of these 3 things, you guys, you're going to get 50%, which is an F. Okay, so you can't forget the context. That's the difference between a math class and statistics. This is an applied math class. So you have to be able to say things in context using sentences, capitals, periods, right? All those types of things that heavy math people like myself, it does not come naturally, but you get better at it. So you want to read what this is saying. This is saying the histogram below shows the distribution of electoral votes for the 50 United States and the District of Columbia based on 2010 census. Okay, so to contextualize it, you would say, right, the shape of, these are all 50 states, right? So the distribution of electoral votes for all 50 states and District of Columbia is skewed right. Okay, does that take longer than just saying skewed right? Absolutely, right? But part of business is saying things in a legible, clear manner, writing emails, professional emails that have sentences. And so just saying skewed right, that is not going to do it, right? In the real world, someone's going to be like, what are you talking about? You're going to say that the distribution of electoral votes for all 50 states and District of Columbia is skewed to the right. That's just a better statement. Okay, so 2 points for each one of these: shape, center, and spread. The 2 points there are pretty clear. So the next one would be center. And in class, I've been discussing this. So if you're in class with me throughout the week, you've heard me talk about this. If you are a full distance learner and not checking in on the Zooms, this might be news to you, or maybe you're doing fine. I'm not sure. We'll know after Friday, right? So center. Measures of center we talked about are either going to be at this point the mean or the median. Okay, so both of these are measures of center. At this point, I want you to use one of these words, right, to describe it, and then you're going to estimate where that is. Okay, so again, if there are 50 United States and the District of Columbia, right? This is a distribution of all of those number of electoral votes. Okay, and so one way to find the median would be to go to 25 in. Well, this is at like 13 right here, right? And this up here looks like it's at 17. And so if you add 13 in this one and 17 in this one, right? This one looks like it's 11. This one looks like 4, 2, 2, 1, and 1. Well, let's add all those up. That's 30, 41, 45, 51. Okay, which accounts for the 50 United States and the District of Columbia. So if you had 51 things in a row, think about all these numbers written out, 51 of them. The middle is going to be right around 25 of them, right, to get to the median. And so 25 data points, you're at 13 here. If you go to this bar and you go all the way to the top, 13 plus 17 is 30. And so the median is going to lie in this bar, right? Because the 25th data entry would be somewhere in that bar, okay? And so you would say here, a measure of center I'm going to use is median. You could have found the mean, but with a histogram, you don't really know how to do that. And so I would stay away from the mean if it's a histogram. So you're going to say the center or the mean, the median of the data set appears to fall into the bar that has, right here, it's 5 to 10 electoral votes. 5 to 10 electoral votes. Okay. And points, right? Where am I going to get a point? You're going to get a point for using the word median, right? Because you're knowing that median is a measure of center is a thing. And then you're going to get another point for all this other stuff that describes, right, an approximation for where that median is. Okay. So let me summarize real quick again. You have a histogram. Histogram looks like bar graphs, but they're right next to each other. And this over here is a frequency. So that frequency is a fancy word for how many times does it happen. So there are 13 states that have 0 to 5 electoral votes. There are 17 states that have 5 to 10, 11, 10 to 5, 4, 15 to 20, 2 to 1, and one state over here that has 55 to 60 electoral votes. So that's how I found the median, because if you had 51 data points, roughly around 25 would be the middle, and I know that it falls in that bar. Okay. All right. The last 2 points you're going to get are for spread. Okay. And this case, I said this in class again. Let's talk about the range. The range is an easy word to discuss spread. You guys have learned about probably mean, median, mode, and range. Those are old school topics. Range by definition is the max minus the min. Okay. And so you want to try to describe, right, where the data is. And so we don't really know the minimum number of electoral votes. All we know is it's somewhere between 0 and 5. And we don't know the max, right, because all we know it's between 55 and 60. And so for this question, you could just say the data varies from 0 to 60 electoral votes. So all you're doing is you're identifying, look, where is the data located on a number line? Somewhere around 0 with a max of 60, okay? And maybe it doesn't max out at 60, but it's approximate, right? Varies from approximately, right? You could add that, that would be even better. Approximately 0 to 60 electoral votes, okay? Points, you're gonna get a point for the word varies. Or if you use the word range, the data ranges from approximately 0 to 60, something like that. You get a point for the word and then a point for your approximation. So this question on the quiz will be worth 6 points. Okay. All right. Last one down here. We've got paying for championships. You now have 2 data sets. They're both histograms. It's another graph for the 2008 salary distributions for the Yankees and the Phillies. Okay, write a few sentences comparing the 2 distributions. The whole takeaway here, you guys, is you have to compare them. If you don't use comparison words, you won't get credit. Okay, so when it says write a few sentences comparing them, You don't have an option. You must check your socks, which is SOCS. Okay. And this first one, there's two S's. I don't care what you do. Usually the first one will be shape. Okay. And so to compare them, again, you draw your smooth curve. You draw your smooth curve, right? And you would say that the Yankees, both the Yankees and the Phillies have distributions that are skewed right. Okay, so there's not really much to compare with shape. You would just say both. That's a comparison word, right? So you're just saying what they both are. As long as you do that, you'll get 2 points for the correct shape of both. Okay, maybe on the test one's approximately symmetric and the other one's skewed or whatnot. I don't know. Okay, O stands for outlier or outliers, right? And so what you're supposed to do is identify points that seem like they're far away from the rest. Okay, and so the question is, this graph doesn't look like it has any salaries that are really far away. Over here, right, you've got a lot of the salaries are down here less than 800,000, but then up here, right, you've got over 3.2 million. And so maybe you say that this is a possible outlier. So that guy, it's possible. We don't know yet. It's okay. If you said it doesn't appear to be any, I would accept that too, but you have to address it, right? You have to talk about it. And so what I would say first is that the Phillies do not seem, right? You don't know for sure, right? Do not seem to have any outliers, while the Yankees look to have one possible high salary that could be an outlier. Okay, and so you're addressing it. You have to address both graphs. You're comparing them. So you're saying the Phillies do not seem to have outliers. There's no data that looks like it's far away from this stuff. While the Yankees look to have one possible high salary that could be an outlier. You do not know for sure, but it could be. All right, the third one here is center. And we're just going to approximate, right? And so when you approximate centers, right, you're trying to find, I mean, think about like a balance point, right? If you were going to balance this thing, right, on the tip of my pen, it seems like the center here, because there's so many over here, this could be the center here. And over here, it's more spread out, right? So then it seems like maybe the center is going to be somewhere around here. And once you do an approximate center in your brain, right, I'll zoom in here. It seems like we're saying the center here would be, can't really read that. I think that says 800,000. So it seems like that could be around, right, approximately $400,000. And over here, we're at like approximately $160,000. And so for a comparison, you would clearly say that the Yankees seem to have a higher average salary than the Phillies. And that's a perfect sentence comparing them, right? So all you would say here is the Yankees appear to have a higher average salary than the Phillies. And that's a great sentence, right? It's using comparison words, right? Higher. Okay, so again, all of these are worth 2 points. Context and answer. Context, comparison words, and answers. All right, the last one here is spread. And I think this should be really obvious. I'll zoom in again. Spread is talking about how spread out is the data. Well, the data here seems to go from 0 up to like 4 million. The data here seems to go from 0 up to 1.6 million. And so this, right, is how spread out the data is. Well, which one spread out more? The Yankees. And just say that. That's a comparison statement. The Yankees data is more spread out than the Phillies. And you guys are probably starting to pick up on the fact that this isn't crazy math class, right? This is not hard stuff. This is a lot of it common sense, but we're using some serious vocabulary, right? We have acronyms. We're talking about outliers, measures of center, measures of spread. And as we continue this class, right, we're going to have more measures of spread than just range, right? Standard deviation, variance, and stuff like that. At this point, for this question, you're going to have a comparison. You have to address all four. All four are worth 2 points each, so this would be an 8-point problem. Okay. All right, you guys, there are 4 multiple choice questions that you're on your own. It all deals with things that we've covered. Stem and leaf plot graphs or just stem plots. Histograms, we've talked about stuff like that. Should be pretty straightforward. All right, take care. Good luck on your quiz tomorrow.